Well, hello everybody. Welcome to our second in our speaker series here at a live Facebook event. I'm Candace, the Practice Competency Manager, coming to you live from NHPC World Headquarters here in Edmonton. And I have with me a very special guest that we're going to chat with today. And her name is Tami Ambury. And I'm going to let her introduce herself before we get into our chat today.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Candace. As Candace said, my name is Tami Ambury. I go by many hats, so I'm going to, introduce part of what I do. My full-time job is I am one of the Experiential Learning Facilitators in the Careers and Experience Office at MacEwan University. Prior to that, I also worked, I was a professional communication instructor and did other student experience stuff at an arts college in Edmonton. So I have been in the world of career for quite a long time now. I am also a holistic practitioner. I work primarily with groups and group facilitation in a variety of ways and do events. And I focus on wellness through, again, career and goal setting in a variety of ways in my own practice.
Excellent. Love it. Love it. I'm a MacEwan alumni myself, so I've always enjoyed anything that I've experienced there, whether it was my full-on massage therapy training, I'm a massage therapist, or the other things I've done sort of post that in different things. And one of the reasons actually that I found my way into massage therapy was going into a career planning, sort of a weekend workshop that they had back in 1998 or something, and everything kept pointing me in the direction of massage therapy, so that was one of the things I did. So
yeah, that's
anyway.
very interesting. I think you lead off in a really great way, because I don't know how many members may be involved in a school or are an alumni of a school, because there are often alumni appointments that you can actually attend. And so still, as an alumni, you have the ability at MacEwan to have 5 appointments with career services to actually talk about career. So I think that's a really, again, something to investigate for your members.
That's awesome. Okay, we're going to talk today a little bit about some career planning, some goal setting, some aspiration setting, if you will. And recently it was brought to my attention that it was on a Facebook closed group chat about somebody feeling a little behind, I guess, because they didn't have the drive to have a full-on business plan in place. They weren't, they got into this profession for different reasons than to go out there and open 3 clinics and hire a bunch of people. And a lot of the chat to her was, that's okay. That doesn't, it doesn't mean you're behind or you're doing it wrong. Whatever your aspiration is for this career, whether it be a part-time sort of gig, honestly, to help friends and family, or whether this is your passion, your calling. I don't want people to think that they need to have this ladder that they need to climb. And well, how do you deal with people feeling like, I'm afraid to plan something because then I'll fail because I won't meet it? Or can you talk about that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think you've mentioned it. Like, there's so much pressure actually in a Western society on what the definition of success is for us all. And so it's sort of a leading question. Do you have a business plan, etc.? Implies that you should have one, and if you don't, you're behind the scenes. Like, that's, but also part of it is that as holistic practitioners, we don't always get kind of business planning as part of our training. So there's a couple of different challenges that go in with that. I think the first thing is for people to understand what's important to them. Like, why did they enter this themselves? Like, what do they want to achieve? What does the balance look like for themselves from a holistic perspective? Where does this fit in their general life and their work and their family, and where is the balance? I think also we don't like to talk about money necessarily, but how much money do they need to or want to make to have the lifestyle that they hope? And again, does it have to all come from this, or could it come from working a more 9-to-5 job, which I think is completely valid. Sometimes people, I think one of the things, because there's so much giving that goes and is involved in whole, you're providing to the client, you're providing empathy. It's a kind of a one-way street in terms of energy, that I think that sometimes people can burn out if they're just giving and giving and giving, and understanding that sometimes another job is actually a balance. It helps create balance. One of the people that I work with, actually, he's one of our faculty at MacEwan in the School of Continuing Education, and he talks about having multiple pillars of income as actually a safe way of balancing your life, where if one thing goes, like as many of us, as holistic practitioners during COVID, if we couldn't be in place with people, that if all of your eggs are in one basket, sometimes that's not the safest option.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I think that some of our new practitioners, and I know that a lot of you have joined us today, you guys that are new or maybe still students, welcome. Love to have you. I think, don't feel pressure like I have to make my entire living from this within 6 months or I'm a failure. I hear from people saying, I can't make a living at this. How do I get clients? I need more clients. I need more clients. Well, then you're putting all the pressure on you for just doing that, when it's perfectly okay. You're not a failure if you have a part-time job or 3 part-time jobs or 1 other job, and you do this until you build up enough clientele to really make it your full-time, your full-time gig. Not all of us have other sources, as in maybe there's a partner in your life that can, pay some of the bills while you try and build up your enough clientele with whatever your, modality is that you practice. It can take a long time, and um, there's also some false expectations out there, definitely from some massage schools, saying you're going to graduate and make $85 an hour, and this just really isn't the case. I mean, it's just not true. It's just not going to happen that way. You're never going to get $85 into your pocket. So yeah, like you, I want to encourage people that, having another job or this not being your main line, or however it's going to look like for you, is just fine. You're not behind.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as I mentioned, I used to work at an arts college, and it reminds me of that in a way.
Oh, yeah,
When this is, a lot of people enter this, like the holistic profession, because that's their passion.
yes,
They want to make a difference. They really, they want to support people. It comes from, either they have had challenges in their own life, or with someone in their family, or friends or whatnot, and that they are driven to this type of career because of that.
mm-hmm.
And I think that people put an overwhelming amount of pressure to think, if I don't make this, like you're saying, within 6 months or something like that,
Yeah,
that I failed and I have to try something else, like start all over, go back to school, do another thing. And sometimes you can go back to school and do something else, for sure. But I think that the challenge is that the initial excitement and enthusiasm that people have when they're new graduates sometimes just goes away, because they think they've failed. Well, no, it takes time to build a clientele. You might need some support in asking people who are already in the industry, and how did they develop
right.
their clientele.
So lean on your
You might want to,
association.
well, I mean, career success is really about who you know. Most people don't get, just to let people know, if you don't know this, 75% of jobs are from who you know. Only 25% are actually from resumes. So it
Yeah,
doesn't mean you don't need to have a good resume, but at the same time, developing your network, talking to people, getting to know people, developing relationships with them is really key. And go easy on yourself. You probably weren't given strategies in your programs in schools on how to create a successful business along the way. It just was going to magically happen. I don't know, but it's really supportive for you to actually keep going. Don't lose faith. Don't lose faith.
Yeah. And another thing that for massage therapists in particular is I know it happened to me and it still happens. I was with somebody on the weekend and they were asked the same thing. Oh, so you're going into massage therapy? Oh, that's only like a 5-year career because then your thumbs give out or your hands give out. And again, that's some misinformation that I'm sure can happen if you are, you know, doing manual therapy, deep hard work, you know, seeing 7 clients a day, 5 days a week. Absolutely, you're going to burn out. You wouldn't last 5 years. But you know, working at your own pace and within your own limits is an important thing to learn from all of us here in this heart-centered world that we come from. Right? It's not about, well, if I see 6 clients a day times $50 times that, it's not about that. It's about how many people can we help. So thus, people in the helping profession can easily be dissuaded from, like you say, following their passion because it just doesn't make money. You know how that old thing, well, find what you love and you'll do it and the money will come. It's true. It just takes a while.
Time, yeah, time.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to, you know, keep that job at Chapters until you have your, you know, your enough money that you can comfortably sort of survive on or whatever your particular aspirations are. But
It, it's true, and actually, I think, I mean, one of the things I also coach people on is that people think, well, I'm settling right now. Like, I'll use the job at Chapters as an example. I'm just settling. I'm only working. I have to work at Chapters. Like, it's again a sense of failure that people have, as opposed to recognizing, for example, okay, I need some money, but I also might need to work on my business strategies or customer service, skill development, or relationship building. And this is an excellent place to do that. Like, where are your areas of weakness where you want to develop those skills? And there can be other places to develop those skills. And I'll use my own work as an example. I am, again, I'm a holistic practitioner myself. I also struggle with getting enough clients sometimes. But I actually have decided that the healthiest version for me is to use what I know in a broader context in the work that I do now. And then I don't worry about, it doesn't have to be about money for me. It actually can be because that's the passion that I have, and the clients that I get are, you know, ones that I really want to work with, and they really want to work with me.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
but I do see that, like, from myself, my job is about networking. My job is about career development, and it's very supportive for me to also be able to then work with clients in sessions, for example, like this. One of the main things I talk with clients is actually about their careers. So they marry together very well.
mhm, yeah. So here's a question.
For sure.
Do you see a difference between setting goals and business planning or career planning? Like, is there a difference between just setting goals or having a business plan or having a,
I think that you can set goals in many areas. And so I think that's actually an excellent question, because I think a business plan, or, I mean, whether it's a business plan or it's you know, what do I want to accomplish with this, and what's my timeline for this career? What,
oh yeah,
yeah,
so
so I think that it doesn't have to be one or the other. I think that goal setting can be, you know, I want to develop additional skill sets. I want to be able to work with clients 3 days a week, you know, 3 hours a day kind of thing. Like, or I want to develop additional skills in, and we know that people at NHPC, our membership, takes many different certifications, often in different things that
yeah,
they
yeah,
want to
true.
do. So I think that goal planning could include actually what the business side of that looks like, but it also could include, what do I want this to look like for my family, and you know, what type of home do I want to live in? Where would I like to live in the world?
Right.
You know, so it just could be more all encompassing, and the business plan being one of the components rather than all of it.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. Because that can be a scary thing. I know it's daunting to have to think of the business, You know,
Yeah.
I am a business. I need to do this and I need to get here and I need to do this, when all I really want to do is help people. You know,
Yeah.
so I'm not interested in the rest of it. I don't really want to do the books. I don't really want to, you know, I'm getting this pressure about I have to be on social media and I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I just want people to come find me, and the ones that, you know, will be drawn to me are the ones that are going to be drawn to me. And I feel like I'm behind. I feel again like I'm behind. I think it's that pressure
Yeah.
out there that is not real. I guess
Yeah.
it is real, but it isn't. You know, a
Yeah.
lot of it
Yeah.
we can just put on ourselves, right?
Well, it's sort of like internalized pressure from society, but people aren't necessarily demanding that of you. You just have internalized the demand that that's what, again, success looks like. And I think a lot of times people also have, you know, in a family, well, we also still know that there's so many options in career, but people will still say, what do you do for a living? And you're supposed to
Yes.
answer in like one word. You know, I'm a teacher, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor. And if you say, well, I do this and this and this, and then on the side and on weekends, and, you know, every second Monday I do, like, that's not a, people are like,
Yeah.
what do you mean that's what you do? That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, um, I think that there's something to be said about if you really want to grow your business and you that is that would be something that you really want to understand, how to do the books and how to create a business plan and how to market and how to do social media, that you might consider doing a continuing education class or two, at one, you know, either, you know, through whatever organization or through a school. Again, I'm through MacEwan, so I know about these types of
Yeah.
things at
Yeah.
MacEwan, but most of the post-secondaries have some version of this. And I think it's actually very supportive then to get some of those skills, that if that's something that you feel like you might be lacking, don't just imagine that you know, or feel bad that you don't have them. You can actually go actively find where you might be able to develop those skills. Or, as you're saying, Candace, if you know, I don't want to do social media for myself, I don't want to do bookkeeping for myself, then where is there a center that would look after those things for you? And you don't have to do those things for yourself.
Yeah. Like we were talking about this before we were out live, is that, you know, we get the training we need, with whichever you know, career or modality or whatever it is. If you know, if you go to learn massage therapy, then you learn all the aspects of doing massage therapy to the very best of your ability. But it doesn't tell you how to find a job. It doesn't tell you, do I put money away for taxes? Do I need to have a license when I do this? Where do I start? How do I find a job? How do I do what I've just learned? And so that is a very that's where your association, like NHPC, steps in,
Yeah. Yeah.
provides that information for you. You know, and I'm happy to say that we're developing sort of um, a, a handbook for, you know, starting your career. This is the things you should consider, and this is what you need to know about, you know, just getting off, you know, off the couch and getting your first job, and what do you need in the municipality that you're in to do what you do. So that's something I think that'll be really welcomed. And you know, those of you again that are listening, you reach out to your association, to the NHPC, and say, hey, where can I find this, or how can I do that? We can, you know, have, we don't have all the answers, but we certainly have a lot of resources for you, right, to help you in whichever way you kind of want to go with whatever it is that you're doing. So it's pretty
Mhm.
open-ended. Yeah, I'm gonna look at
Absolutely.
our our chat here because I think there's a couple questions.
For sure.
Okay. Um, Thanks for doing this. I've been in RMT for 6+ years and I feel established, but I can definitely get comfortable. I can definitely get comfortable as I am, but I can't help but to feel like I can do better for my clients and the industry in general. I want to start specializing and eventually teaching people skills that they can take home. I just don't know where to start. I'm not aware of career services within NHPC. Would love to talk to somebody about, you know, courses with my interests, right? Um, Roseanne feels the same way as I do. Those who need me are going to find me. So I don't need to have a billboard, to say, hey, come on down and see me. Usha as well agrees with me. And just they're just thanking us for bringing up this topic of, um, having things the way you need them to be when you need them to be. That's
Mhm.
not asking too much, is it?
Maybe we could thanks for reading those. That's really helpful. I think Stacy, it's an interesting situation. I know personally that I've kind of moved away a lot of the time from working one-on-one with clients to actually doing more workshops and training. And I think this, as we sort of progress in our career in this industry, I think that's a natural progression for
Oh
a
yeah,
lot of us.
very much so.
And I do think, I mean, the NHPC in my experience has been very open to me pitching like, hey, I'm interested in doing this type of workshop. There's, or again, setting up these workshops through Eventbrite as this was set up, and again, developing your network, connecting with other clinicians who, you can share this information with. I think it's a natural transition, and I know it can sometimes be, well, that's 9 to 5. I'm just making up a 9 to 5. I'm more comfortable with, like 11 till 2 or something, 11 till 3 job that I have. That it feels maybe frightening, but again, it's the scaffolding approach where it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It can
Yeah.
be really building up the strategy of what would those classes look like, what would your demographics of individuals, your market look like that you want to work with, where do those people exist, how can you locate them, and the reverse pyramid sort of thing, where as you get more successful in the one, you start tapering off on the other, rather than just giving one up and hoping for the best with the next
Yeah.
step.
And just so for everybody's knowledge, we all have liability insurance to do what we do. It's like driving a car, you need insurance. So that covers you if you are teaching a class, or, for those sort of activities, you're already sort of covered in that, area if you want to do that, because it is such a natural progression, like you said, to first of all, to be a helper naturally falls into being a teacher. It
Yeah.
just does. I did massage therapy for many, many years, and I'm still a massage therapist. I'm not in practice at this moment, obviously, working with the NHPC, but this is the way I wanted to continue helping, was to help other, practitioners within NHPC with the realities of things. That's my job as this practice management person, this practice support, the competency person, is to bring to light to the entire association the realities of what it's like to do what we all do, and that we're not in front of a computer screen all day. We can't multitask when we're dealing with one person at a time. So our way of doing things is completely different than somebody at a desk that can run a business out of their office and do all these things while they how that goes, right? So dealing with that really, I like to say, heart-centered, helping one-on-one sort of thing, it does get challenging after a while.
Yeah.
That cup gets empty, you can't pour. So unless you're really, really good with boundaries, you're going to fall into that, that empathy exhaustion.
Mm-hmm.
So I've kind of been rambling on with this, but I think what I think that being a teacher or a helper, even in educating your clients more about their body as you do the treatment with them. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
think that happens all the time. I think that's one of our professional duties in whatever modality we practice, is to educate people a little bit about why they're feeling the way they are, why this keeps happening, or just to a degree that is still within our scope, obviously. But if you're doing something that's manual, it's really easy to say, well, your shoulder hurts because you're reaching for the mouse all day. Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah. Boom, look, you just taught them something, So if you want to do something that's in a more formal setting, where you've got 6 people there, and you're, 6 of your own clients, and you're going to teach them a bunch of different stretching to do or whatever. I think that's fantastic. And I think, that's it's, if you want to just start it at that, that's a perfect way to do it. You don't have to go outside of your existing clientele, and rent out the local community center and, do that kind of thing right off the bat. You
Yeah.
just take little bites.
I think that's actually a really good strategy. Because again, often I've seen good success that way, where it's again the scaffolding, where just like I'm looking for 25 new people, and that will be, that's my first go at a group session. Well, that's a lot of pressure. Again, if you're paying for a space, if how are you finding all those people? But if you're saying to your current clients, I'm doing a group of 3, or I'm doing a group of 6, and would you like to be part of this, startup venture? I'd love to get your feedback. And maybe there could be some sort of referral to again, friends or family members, and then build out from there, rather than just, again, I'm doing 100-person session, and
which is just crazy. Yeah.
It's not reasonable. Yeah.
So Stacy has another question here, and I don't know. She's looking for some training for delivering a good workshop. So I think she's feeling behind maybe in terms of modern technology and things like that. But for what she may want to do, maybe she's not having to worry about too much big technology or.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question, because I know one of the NHPC members who was doing actually workshops on how to move some of your holistic business into a virtual practice, and she was doing that kind of training with members. But I do think, again, it's determining whether you need to do it virtually, or whether you want to do it in person, or if there's the possibility of a combination or a hybrid version of that. Also, I wouldn't recommend doing it virtually if you're accustomed to working in person, if you're not comfortable with technology at this point. I want to say we're all like, I work with technology now all the time. I work from home. This is how I do all of my workshops now. But I'm also of an age where this isn't the most natural thing. It's just repeated use of different technologies that has, yeah. But again, it's maybe not the best place to start because it's facilitating workshops at the beginning, at least, is creates nervousness for people to begin with, for yourself. Yeah. So if adding in technology where you're not sure if it's going to work right away is maybe not the first best strategy, but trying to do it in person, and then get accustomed to what the delivery looks like and your script looks like. I mean, I'm putting script, I know it's not scripted exactly, but what the delivery of that information will look like, and then potentially, playing around with your friends and family members on different types of technology.
Yeah. Roseanne says here, I've been taking workshops to learn how to fine tune what I like to do and how to offer that service to others. Yes, I love to teach what I know to others. What is knowledge if we don't share it? That's exactly right. In whatever way you want to share that knowledge, whether it is one-on-one in that session with that client on, whatever is happening, whatever it's feeling with their body, whether it's a manual therapy where you can teach them a better, posture position to do an activity. That's all teaching. It's helpful teaching, and so don't feel that you have to have a real formal way to do it. You can do it in little bits if that's comfortable for you as well.
That's actually, I love how you said that, because I think a lot of times when I see people's resumes, in this particular sense, that we have people will say, I'm a massage therapist. They put their tasks in, like, I massage people, I clean up afterwards, I do the paperwork afterwards, and they don't recognize the transferable skills, which are, again, teaching is a huge, and coaching people on healthy lifestyles as actually, honestly, as transferable to any work environment. So recognizing like the broader context of what you do, and sometimes what I would recommend, and people could do that here, is is writing the story of what a day looks like and the types of interactions you have, kind of creating the fairy tale of what you do so that you can better appreciate all of the things that you do. Yeah, because it's easier then to also, I think, not lose faith, know the benefits of the things that you're doing, knowing the variety of ways you interact with people, all the types of communication that you have with them,
Yeah.
how good you are at understanding the body without people having to tell you. You can see it and you understand it and know
Yeah.
that, for example. So
You're absolutely right. I do hear quite a bit, but that's all I know is how to do this. No, you don't. Let's just take a look at it. And guess what? Our time is up just as we're got rolling here. So I think we'd love to maybe have you back to do a little bit more of this sort of discussion about, you know, what your career looks like, and I'd like to explore too, sort of also the transitioning out, if that's your thing. I mean, we get a lot of people that are maybe thinking of retiring, or like we were speaking before we were on air about, this time of, the great pause in life during the COVID pandemic. And now there's a big, and during that time of his resignation of
yeah.
many people that just decided, I might as well just retire now.
Mm-hmm.
So there's lots of different opportunities out there, isn't there?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's a time of reflection and decision for many people on what they want to do next, what the next 10 years will look like right now.
Exactly. And I just want to tell you, those here that are with us with the NHPC, we'll be here, we'll be strong, we'll be helping you out in however you need us to be going forward. So, lean on your association. So if there's some questions, and I hope there is, and I know there will be from this, please send them on to the association. You can send them to um, member services at nhpcanada.ca, and it'll get to .org, sorry, it'll get to the right people. Don't worry, we'll get back to your make sure that the right person gets back to you to answer your question. I want to thank Tami Ambury today. Great chat, and I think what you're doing is just great work too, and you're a teacher. Gotta love it.
It happens, as you said, along the way.
Along the way, yeah, after a while you just have to share that knowledge,
Absolutely.
and I think we're all trying to do our best at doing that. Okay, so we're going to sign off today. We're past our half-hour mark, so thank you very much for joining us in our NHPC live speaker series. I'm going to sign off from NHPC World Headquarters in Edmonton. Have a fantastic day, everybody, and we'll see you at our next session. Bye.